And the Mets, Dykstra, Backman, Magadan, then Strawberry, McReynolds, and Carter, and the bottom three, Johnson, Elster, and Darling.
And on the mound for the Mets, Ron Darling with a record of 7-4, an earned run average of 2.67. He's had 3 complete games, 2 of them shutouts. He has worked 104 in the 3rd innings, given up 84 hits, walking 25 and striking out 66. His lifetime record against Pittsburgh, 7 wins and 2 losses. And this will be the first time he has faced them this year.
And the big D for the Mets, Magadan, Backman, Elster, and Johnson in the infield, McReynolds, Dykstra, and Strawberry in the outfield, Carter behind the plate, and Darling on the mound.
And the umpires for this game, John McSherry behind home plate, Lee Wire the umpire at first, Larry Poncino the umpire at second base, and Fred Brocklander the umpire at third. Barry Bonds will lead it off for the Pirates. He's hitting .289. He has 14 home runs, 24 runs batted in. Bonds has, in his major league career, 12 leadoff home runs. He's had 4 this year, and it runs in the family. His daddy, Bobby Bonds, holds the record for most leadoff home runs in major league history, 35. And he goes after the first pitch. It's a high fly ball to fairly deep right field. Strawberry back in the warning track, and he makes the play. So 1 pitch and 1 away as Barry Bonds tries to put it out of the ballpark again.
Asked Barry Bonds before the game what type of an impact his father had on his career. He said he didn't have that much of an impact because he was traded around the major league so much. And when this kid was playing in Northern California, his father might have been in New York or Southern California.
Now the batter is Jose Lean, and he's hitting .249 with 1 home run, 27 runs batted in, 1 for 4 last night. And Ron Darling gets a strike, 1-1.
He made a tremendous defensive play last night. Just absolutely unbelievable.
One of the greatest plays I've ever seen back a second. He must have gone, after catching that ball, about 6 feet in the air to throw it.
That was the best play I've ever seen by a second baseman.
Sort of an Ozzie Smith type play, a real acrobatic play. And this ball hit hard, backhanded by Elster. The throw is low, but Magadan comes up with it, and Lean is out.
I'm surprised they didn't have Lean go out to the Forum tonight for that game with the Pistons and the Lakers. Here's Kevin Elster, soft hands. See the way he gave with that ball, turned around, threw it. It was a little low. Nice play by Magadan. Kevin Elster.
And so on his play, 2 men away, and that'll bring up Andy Van Slyke. Andy hitting an even 300, 11 home runs, 49 runs batted in. A long, good story about the RBIs. He has had at least 1 run batted in his last 11 ball games. The Pirate record is 12, held by Paul Winter, and the Major League record is 17, done by Oscar Grimes for Chicago back in 1922. At least 1 home run in each of his last 11 ball games.
Here's an example. Of
1 RBI, I should say.
It helped this guy to get traded away from the Cardinals because they were looking for too much from Andy Van Slyke.
And this one hit softly back to Ron Darling. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Darling. The score at the end of 1/2 inning. The Pirates nothing, the Mets coming up. Well, the Arthur Richmond fan club out there, get well, Mr. Richmond. Arthur, of course, the assistant to the general manager, Frank Cashin of the New York Mets, in the hospital, had an operation on his knee, and we understand that he's coming out of it very nicely.
Good. We miss Arthur over here at Shea Stadium, and of course the Mets will be going on the road Thursday. You're going to really miss Arthur on the road, Ralph.
There's no doubt about that. As you look at Doug Drabek and his stats, 5-4. 4.53 ERA, 3 complete games. And Drabek has worked 89 1/3 innings, given up 86 hits. He has walked 21 and struck out 45. He's 1-1 lifetime against the Mets, and his first appearance against the Mets this year.
And in the infield, Bream, Lean, Belliard, and Bonilla. Bonds, Van Slyke, and Coles in the outfield. LaValliere behind the plate, and Drabek on the mound.
The leadoff batter for the Mets, Lenny Dykstra, and he is red hot. Lenny, in his last 14 ball games, has hit in 12 of them. He's hitting .449 over those last 14 games with 22 base hits, and his average now is at .223 with 3 home runs and 14 RBIs. Should say .323. Lenny Dykstra having a hot hand right at this moment. He along with Darryl Strawberry. And you could throw in Tim Tuffle, who's hit in 10 consecutive ball games. 1-1 the count. Drayback working to Lenny Dykstra. Lenny a pinch hit in last night's ball game, 1 for 1. And another breaking ball, 2 balls, 1 strike.
Things look sluggish right now. Of course, it's hot and humid.
Crowd is quiet.
Yeah, it might be because of the weather. It seems to have affected you.
Layback summer day is what it is.
That's what Nat King Cole would say.
That's right. How about the old saying, I saw a dog chasing a cat, and they were both walking. There's a fly ball to right coming up hard as Cole's, and he'll get to it, and he does. So what away, and that'll bring up Wally Backman. Backman is a pinch hitter last night, was 0 for 1, that broke his 6-game hitting streak. He's 7 for 21 over his last 7 ball games, hitting .333, and he is now at .258 with no home runs and 6 runs batted in. Wally hit .250 last year after batting over .300 in 1986. Mets is a team hitting .258. That's 4th in the National League. They were leading the National League in hitting, but their recent batting slump has knocked them way back. They were leading in runs scored. They're now 4th in runs scored. That's 87 right now at 743. It was 97 today on the first day of summer. Really broke in with a vengeance.
I love it.
And this is the anniversary of the Jim Bunning no-hit, no-run perfect game against the Mets back in 1964. It was pitched on Father's Day that year. First perfect ball game pitched in 84 years, and he became the first man in modern day baseball to win or to pitch no-hitters in both leagues. 2-1, the count to Wally Backman, and the fastball hit in the hole. Over there goes Jose Lean, and boy, he looks like he's going to be some second baseman.
Reminds you a lot of Frank White, a guy who played a lot of years, still playing with the Kansas City Royals, can really jump, can run, can get in front of a ball on artificial or natural surface. There he makes a fine play, taking a base hit away from Wally Backman. So Jose Lean should be around the major leagues for a long time. I just hope he doesn't trip over the jewelry. A lot of chains on it.
He joined the Pirates back on August 28th last year, and he has played in every inning since of 102 consecutive ball games. And now the batter will be Dave Magadan. Magadan with his first home run in last night's ball game, first home run of the year. He fouls off the first pitch.
You know, by the way, the guy who really had Frank White first, and he had him at the Kansas City Royals Baseball Academy, is the general manager of the Pirates, and he's a guy instrumental in bringing Lean to the major leagues. His name is Sid Thrift.
Boy, he has certainly done a great job for the Pittsburgh Pirates, turning this ball club around.
Yeah, Sid's a nice guy. There's Sid right there, the suspenders on. Sid's put on a couple pounds since Kansas City.
He and his wife sitting there enjoying the ball game. At least they appear to be.
Who's that guy?
Probably an ex-Ricky farmhand looking for some money.
Talking about Branch Rickey. You hammer this guy. Branch gets no rest. This guy's having a conversation with Sid.
1-strike pitch is a fastball for ball. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Sid's wife Dolly was sitting next to him.
Magadan against the Pirates with 2 home runs. His other home run in his major league career was a pinch hit home run off John Smiley last April.
When you watch Magadan swing the bat, he lets the ball get on top of him. He's quick. He waits long on the pitch. Last night he was fooled a little bit and extended his arms a lot more than he usually does, and he hit a home run.
Got a breaking ball, and he got around. This time he gets a fastball, doesn't get around. He hits it very high in the air. And Andy Van Slyke will make the play, and the Mets go in order. The score at the end of 1, the Pirates nothing, the Mets nothing. Well, we're back here at Shea Stadium, the fans and the bleachers being the recipients of some kindly person who evidently bought out a box of Cracker Jacks and is tossing them around. Well, there are a lot of ballparks that don't sell Cracker Jacks anymore, and that would ruin the song "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
That's too bad. Yeah, you get the Cracker Jacks and the peanuts. Now they're selling nachos.
Bobby Bonilla, the batter. Bobby having a great season. New York City boy, and he hits a fastball to left field coming over as McReynolds. He can't get to it. Bonilla makes a turn at first base and holds there. Bonilla hitting .313 before that base hit. That's his 81st base hit of the year. And he has 15 home runs and 53 runs batted in. 1 for 4 last night. What a year he's having.
It's the ball towards the end of the bat, and he's strong enough to pick up that base hit. Of course, the outfield playing deep for a Bobby Bonilla. He's able to just loft the ball in front of Kevin McReynolds. Bobby Bonilla last night told me on a post-game show he left 40 tickets.
Just an average night when you play in your hometown.
Boy, 40 tickets.
This is Darnell Coles, and he takes the first pitch for ball 1. Coles last night 1 for 5.
You know, Arthur Richmond, of course, is injured right now. He'll be back shortly, but imagine if Arthur was in town and heard that request.
Go right back in the hospital.
He certainly would.
Have a relapse. 1 ball, no strikes to Darnell Coles. Bonilla draws a throw. Bonilla has only 1 stolen base in his 1 attempt.
What do Darnell Coles and Ralph Kiner have in common?
I can tell you, there's the split finger fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike.
3 home run games. Look at that. Look at 4 times. What, they playing a bandbox back then? You got Darnell Coles 1, so he doesn't have anything in common with Ralph Kiner. 4 times.
Darnell Coles did it last year against the Cubs. This one popped up out into shallow right. Backman is back. Makes a good running play.
That was an excellent play by Wally Backman.
Bonilla holding at first base.
Nobody's really hit the ball hard off of Ron Darling, and here's a looper to right field, and Wally Backman doing a fine job chasing the ball down and making a catch. Ball almost rolled out of the webbing. A lot of times that ball will hit in the pocket, and if you're not able to close the glove in time and you catch it with a hard hand, the ball will roll right out of the glove, up towards the webbing and out.
Sid Bream now the batter, hitting .286, 6 home runs, 24 runs batted in. Bream in his last 18 ball games hitting .360. And he's had a lot of extra base hits, 7 two-base hits, 3 home runs. He's driven in 10 runs, so he's been hot.
Ralph, how close did you get to hitting 4 dingers in a game?
There's a base hit off the left, cut off by Elster, but he did not have a chance to make the throw, so it's a base hit. But Elster going over, making a fine stop.
Yeah, Kevin Elster ranging far to his right to catch that ball. Talked about it before. If you can't get in a hole like this, you can't play shortstop. Elster making the play, falling down. He might have had a shot at second base, but the ball bouncing out of his hands. And the runners are safe.
To answer your question, I hit 3 home runs one time, my first 3 at bats, and I grounded out to third, and they booed me.
Is that the closest you came to hitting 4 in a game?
Well, I did hit 4 consecutive home runs twice, but they were spread over 2 games.
Yeah, that doesn't count. We're talking about 4 in a game.
And the first pitch is in there for a called strike to Mike Lavalier. Jim Leland, the manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates, when he took over the Pirates, they were in last place, mired in last place. He said, you probably wonder why I took the job. He says, I needed the money.
Done a great job, hasn't he?
He certainly has. 1 ball, 1 strike to count to Lavalier. Lavalier hitting .270, hit .300 last year. He has no home runs, 23 RBIs as you look at Jim Leland.
Very
never played in the majors.
Yeah, very intense. Well, how about Walter Alston? Did he play?
1 time he was at bat in the major leagues and struck out. Lon Warnke struck him out. 0 for 1 in a major league career. High fly ball hit to center field. The runner's going with a pitch. So Bonilla halfway down goes back to second. Bream back to first, and Lavalier is out. 2 men away, and that'll bring up the shortstop, Rafael Belliard.
Not a bad idea. Caught the Mets off guard with the putting the runners in motion on the first pitch of LaValliere, and he put the ball in play. He's a contact hitter.
Said he used to be a spray hitter with power, and he changed his stance, and now he's a spray hitter with no power. Rafael Belliard, batting .248. No home runs, 5 runs batted in. 1 for 3 in last night's game. And Ron Darling with a fastball, a called strike.
Jim Leland very high on this guy. At one time he would platoon Belliard, but now he tries to get him in there as much as he can.
Been up 101 times this year. And a split finger hit hard to left field for a base hit. McReynolds with a throw home. It's in time, and the tag is made. And McReynolds throws out Bobby Bonilla as Carter makes the tag at home. So a fine play ends the inning. No runs, 3 hits, 2 men left, and the score at the end of 1.5 innings. Pirates nothing, the Mets nothing. Well, we're going to the bottom half of the second inning. No score after the fine throw by Kevin McReynolds.
Watch this play. Gary Carter making a fine tag. Gary did not really have to block the play. In fact, he was smart to give with Bonilla. Bonilla, big, strong guy. Good throw from McReynolds. Gave Carter plenty of time to apply the tag, and he does, and gives with him. He doesn't have to block the plate there.
So that play kept a run from scoring, ended the inning, and brought up Darryl Strawberry. Strawberry hitting .302 for the year, 17 home runs, 45 runs batted in. He is tied for the league lead in home runs. Darryl now with 45 runs batted in. That puts him in 5th place on the RBI list. Darryl leads the league in slugging percentage at .609. He is second in on-base percentage at .393. And Doug Grayback misses low for ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes. Strawberry has picked up 36 walks. Grayback working his first inning in order. Walked him on 4 pitches.
I don't blame him.
Strawberry with a 3-run home run last night to tie for the league lead in home runs. That put the Mets up 3-2. They lost the ball game by a score of 8-5.
And we were talking about hitting home runs in bunches. It looks like Strawberry in that groove right now. When he's in the groove, you're better off just walking him.
7 home runs in his last 27 ball games, and that'll bring up Kevin McReynolds. McReynolds 1 for 4 last night. He's hit 7 home runs in his major league career against the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's had 19 hits in his major league career against Pittsburgh, so he's hit them with power. He takes a fastball for ball 1. Strawberry, of course, a threat to steal. The runner at first base. He's had 12 stolen bases. That's second on the club to Lenny Dykstra, who leads the club with 14. And that pitch just outside. 6 in a row out of the strike zone for Draybeck. Draybeck last year started the season 1-8. That was before the All-Star game. He finished 11-12. This year he's 5-4. Lost a no-hit, no-run game with no one out in the 9th when Randy Reddy got a base hit. Throw to first, Strawberry back. That no-hitter pitched earlier this year. He went 8 innings on the no-hitter before losing it. Didn't even get a complete game. He was knocked out of the box. There goes Strawberry, and the pitch is grounded foul.
Oh, boy. Nice play.
Came up with the ball. How
Yes,
about
he
that?
did.
Had it tucked away. Nice play. You got to get that uniform dirty. That's all there is
He
to
did.
it.
Nice play.
Look at this. He knows where the ball
Yeah,
is.
she holds on to the ball.
That might be the Budweiser play of the game.
Yeah, you got to give it to her.
Strawberry back at first after running on the pitch. Good count for the hit and run play. 2 balls, 1 strike. Strawberry just sort of falls down getting back to the bag. He can just use all that length to get back without any trouble at all.
He had a pretty good jump on that last ball that was hitting the foul territory. You get in this part of the order, they're not going to give you a pitch to steal.
And this high fly ball is really up there. Barry Bonds taking plenty of time. He has that time, and McReynolds skies out.
When you get to the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th slot with the Mets, you're not going to get a pitch to steal a base. If they see a good fastball, they're going to tattoo it if they can. Lenny Dykstra gets on base. Wally Backman can handle the bat so well that he can give Lenny a chance to steal the base. And of course, Kevin Elster can do the same thing in the 8th slot. Those other, the power hitters are going to take their rips. That's why they're called the big boppers.
And here is Gary Carter. Carter in last night's game 1 for 4, a base hit to right field. Carter's hit 3 home runs in his major league career against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Had 16 hits, 3 home runs, 13 runs batted in. And the throw over Strawberry back. That was last year. He had 3 home runs against the Pirates. Last home run this year coming on May 16th, number 299. And it's hit off the end of the bat down to 3rd. Bonilla tries for 2 and gets it. As Bonilla throws to Lean on to Bream, and that will do it. No runs, no hits, no errors, and no one left on base. The score at the end of 2. It's the Pirates nothing, the Mets nothing. Well, Ron Darling on the mound. His wife in the audience as a good crowd watches this ball game here at Shea Stadium.
Tony Darling. We saw Tony up in Montreal with their son.
Ron has given up no runs, allowed 3 hits. They all came in the 2nd. And now working to Doug Drabek as you look at Rick Aguilera in the bullpen. Rick pitched in last night's ball game. His first appearance since coming off the DL for the New York Mets. He went 2 innings, gave up no runs, allowed 1 base hit, and pitching to 7 batters. And Drabek pops it up. Carter comes out, turns around, throws the mask away. And makes the play.
Boy, he catches the foul ball. That's a fair ball so easily. He's the best I've seen in it, Ralph. You played with Jim Hegan. They said he was great.
Jim was great. So was Jerry Grody.
I'll tell you what, I don't think anybody could do it any better than this guy. That's a tough play for a catcher. That ball is halfway out to the mound. Gary goes out and easily makes the catch. I think because he was such a good offensive player as a catcher, you tend to overlook his defensive ability. He's excellent at blocking the ball. He's very, very good at catching foul balls. And at one time, he had a great arm.
And Barry Bonds hits for the 2nd time. His first time up, he got that same pitch and flied out to right. 0 for 1 tonight.
A lot of times they look at a catcher and they say, how does he handle a pitcher? But that's open to debate. I mean, that's like poetry. It means different things to different people. Nobody gets the same meaning out of a poem.
Glad to know that. Now here's a pitch for a ball. That's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Of course, I never read poems. You were a poet at one time, weren't you?
Didn't know it. That pitch bounces away, and the count goes to 2-1 to Barry Bonds. Bonds, a lot like his father. He hits a lot of fastballs out of the ballpark. He also strikes out a lot. He has 49 strikeouts.
Told me when he was in college at Arizona, do you know on the on-deck circle before they would go to bat, they would swing a wooden bat? The coaches wanted them to swing a wooden bat.
And he takes that strike, so it's 3-2.
He said they had advanced coaching in that college. Some of those great baseball schools, Arizona, Arizona State, USC, Stanford.
Fastball on the 3-2 count. Foul back out of play. You saw two batters in the on-deck circle over there. Jose Lean and Andy Van Slyke. That is illegal. You can only have one out there.
Nobody really ever protests that situation, but I wouldn't want the third hitter on the other team feeling too good with the bat in his hand. The more
see Keith Hernandez do it quite often.
Yeah.
He likes to get out there.
You don't mind the eighth hitter feeling comfortable.
Really no advantage to it. I don't know why the rule was put in, maybe to keep from cluttering up the area there.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have 8 guys out there with bats in their hand. I'd love to see it, though.
3 balls, 2 strikes, starting back again. And a ground ball hit out to second. Off the glove of Backlund, and it will go in the shallow center. Bonds does not run hard to first base, so he has no chance to move around to second as the ball goes into shallow center field.
Yeah, Barry ran out of the box full tilt. He had a shot at going to second base in this ball. Ball comes up and just eats Wally Backman up. Looked like it hit him up above the wrist. And it scoots into center field, and Barry Bonds, with good speed, as Ralph mentioned, did not run to first base, so he's down on first base with 1 out.
And with 1 out, no score in the ball game, Jose Lean comes up. Lean grounded out to the shortstop. A good play by Kevin Elster on the play. And he takes a first pitch, strike 1. It was Lean who put down a bunt that really turned the ball game around for the Pirates when the Pirates scored 6 runs on 8 hits in the 7th inning. With runners at first and second, he bunted for a base hit. The ball was credited as a base hit. Should have been an error, in my opinion, and the ball thrown away by Bobby Ojeda. That set up the big inning for Pittsburgh.
Well, Lean is very durable. He's been the Pirates' second baseman every inning since making his major league debut in 1987.
They traded Johnny Ray away, and Lean took over at second. He's played every inning since then. 103 games now with this one.
One of the reasons they traded Johnny Ray away, well, there were a few. One was because he lost his range. He's now playing the outfield with the California Angels.
This ball hit off the hands out toward Backlund, who makes the tag, now tries for the double play and gets it as Barry Bonds runs right into the double play. That ends the inning. 1 hit and no one left on base. The score at the end of 2.5 innings. The Pirates nothing, the Mets nothing. Now let's join Lee Zeidman in our studios for a Sports Channel update.
Thanks, Ralph. Yankees are trying to get back into first place playing at Detroit Tiger Stadium. Let's go. Top of the first 2 on for Mike Pagliarulo. Hits the slow grounder through the infield. Dave Winfield hustles his way around second and scores. The Yanks jump in front 1-0. That's the way it stands now. They're in the bottom of the first, Leiter facing Morris. That's it for now. Send you back to Shea after this.
Howard Johnson will lead it off for the Mets. No score in the ball game. Johnson hitting .229 with 10 home runs, 29 runs batted in. 0 for 4 in last night's ball game. Doug Drabek on the mound for the Pirates, and a slow curveball taken for ball 1. Johnson moving up. Bonilla, the third baseman, about even with the bag to guard against the possibility of Johnson bunting. Drabek has not given up a base hit. He has walked 1 batter. And he misses outside ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Drabek with the Pirates 16-16. Last 5 game starts, he's 1-1. And he misses with a fastball. 3 balls, no strikes. And the fastball is called strike. Drabek was in the Rick Rhoden deal. In '86 with the Yankees, he was 7-8. And this ball hit hard to right field, and Howard Johnson leads off with a base hit. Mets get their first hit of the game. That'll bring up Kevin Elster, hitting .205 with 4 home runs, 17 runs batted in. Elster 1 for 3 last night, a single to left field. Phillies leading the Cubs 2-1. That's in the bottom half of the second. Montreal leading St. Louis 3-0. That game in the bottom half of the second. Cubs 7 games behind the Mets in third place. St. Louis 9.5 back in fourth place. And the Pirates 5.5 back to the Mets in second place. 1 strike to count to Kevin Elster. Throw to first base, Johnson back. Johnson with 11 stolen bases and 14 attempts.
And Howard Johnson really having a good year, except for the batting average, hitting around .230 right now.
And the breaking ball. Did he swing? Yes, he did. First base umpire Lee Wire said he went too far.
Well, Lee Wire, I guess, was right.
Never have liked that appeal play.
Never have, huh?
I think it should be called by the umpire behind home plate.
Boy,
It can lead to some real problems
Yeah.
if you have to wait to see whether the ball's a strike or not.
I'll tell you, it's tough to call for the home plate umpire, but it's probably just as tough for the first base umpire.
It's a difficult call any way you look at it, either direction. 2-strike pitch, and it's popped up. Playable for Jose Lean. 1 away. That'll bring up Ron Darling, and probably Darling will be asked to sacrifice. Darling's had 6 hits this year and 33 at-bats, hitting .152. He has not had an RBI. He has had 2 doubles.
You know, I feel the philosophy in dealing with the Mets pitchers, at least the starting pitchers, when they come up with a bat in their hand, might change a lot of the other teams' thinking, because these guys swing the bat pretty well, so you wouldn't just jump to the point where you're going to walk the number 8 guy and go after the pitcher. And of course, in a situation like this, as you look at the lights are going off at Shea Stadium. How about that? Some of the lights.
Some of the lights, yeah.
Most of the lights are on. But Ron Darling's the type of guy where you can let him swing the bat right now.
Main lights are on, just the bank.
How about this? John McSherry wants Drabick to throw the ball. I thought he wanted to see if it bothered anybody with those lights going off. Let's see what happens here. John McSherry told Drabick to throw the ball to LaValliere. Now Ron Darling is, yeah, they're going to test it. How about that?
Well, I guess if John McSherry can see it, everybody else can.
That's right. John McSherry had Drabick throw the ball to find out if those lights affected his view of the ball. Here comes Davey Johnson.
Davey wants the lights to be on for his hitters, and you can't blame him for that. Why should the Mets bat with the lights not at full efficiency? So Lee Wire's being, well, I don't know whether he's being called in. He comes in, and he's talking with Davey Johnson.
This is a first at Shea Stadium, isn't it, Ralph?
Oh, no, the lights went off when the game was called because of the lights
Is that
all
right?
going off. July of 1977, Jerry Kuzman on the mound. The Mets were trading in the ball game. Maybe it was Ray Burris. I'm not positive of that. Burris might have been pitching for the Cubs at the time. It was with the Cubs, and it was a blackout in this whole area. So it's not the first time that the lights have even flickered here.
Well, we'll see if Ron Darling bunts the ball and let him take a rip.
These lights really aren't any worse than they used to be in the old days. This would be a nice night in the old days when they first started using lights. And a good bunt by Ron Darling. Raybeck sort of hesitated. Now he picks it up and picks up the out at first base with Lean covering. And on the sacrifice, Johnson down to second.
Well, that was a perfect bunt by Ron Darling. That ball hit the ground and stopped. It looked like he had a cue stick, And he got the cue ball to dance out there. Watch this.
This thing spins back.
It really does. An outstanding. You can't bunt the ball any better than this. And Drabek hesitated.
Wish I could do that with a golf club.
Boy, that's unbelievable. Great bunt by Ron Darling. Just a fine athlete.
So the Mets get their first runner in scoring position. It comes with 2 men out here in the bottom half of the third, and the batter coming up is Lenny Dykstra. Dykstra flied out to right field his first time up. And Doug Drabek with his first pitch. It's hit to right field. Right there, though, is Darnell Coles. And he puts it away, and that'll end the inning. The Mets get their first hit, but they leave the batter runner at second base. And the score at the end of 3 as Tim McCarver joins Fran Healy. The Pirates nothing, the New York Mets nothing.
Well, Andy Van Slyke will lead it off for the Pirates. He's driven in a run in 10 straight games, 1 short of the Pirate record. No score here in the top of the 4th. I should say 11 straight runs, and Van Slyke will face Ron Darling. Top of the 4th inning, no score as Tim McCarver slides into the booth.
Good evening, sir.
And a beautiful evening, a hot and humid weather that you were used to in St. Louis. And Memphis.
You know that RSC on the sleeve of the Pirates, the former mayor of the city of Pittsburgh, passed away earlier in the year. Young man, Mr. Caligari. Caligari, I guess it was. Richard Caligari. You mentioned that 11 RBIs for Van Slyke. Paul Wainer had the record back in 1927. Paul Wainer was my first hitting instructor in 1959. Yeah.
Was that Little Poison?
Little Poison. Roving instructor for the Cardinals. Belly button the ball. That was his theory.
I remember that theory. Fouled out of play. It's amazing how the theories have changed over the years from Paul Wainer's belly button the ball. Hit with your belly button. Your belly button leads.
Yeah, clear the hips. That was his idea.
Same theory Ted Williams has, open the hips. Andy Van Slyke's attempting to open the hips against Ron Darling. Pirates have 4 hits against Darling. The Mets have only managed 1 against Doug Drabek. Popped up. Is it playable? Carter in pursuit, but it's out of play. So 0-2 on Andy Van Slyke. Nice crowd on hand. Game 2 of this 3-game series.
Gary and Hojo both converging on the Pirate dugout. And the ball hitting on top of the dugout. Had Gary caught that ball and dropped it, if a Pittsburgh player puts a hand on him, the batter's out.
All the guy was trying to do was be a nice guy.
Yep, that rule has changed. That, of course, was not the rule back in the late 60s. When Gene Mock was the manager of the Phillies, Jerry Grody caught a ball, and Jerry went into the Phillies dugout, and Gene knocked the ball out of his glove. And it was ruled no catch, and they changed the rule that year.
As you look at Jim Leland, of course, Gene Mock, a feisty type manager, and so was this guy, Jim Leland. 1-2 on Van Slyke. Down and in, 2-2. Another rule, you're going to look at how Van Slyke has increased his average over the years.
That's steady progress, isn't it? It's kind of like the Pittsburgh Pirate Ball Club.
Exactly. And a 2-2 pitch. That'll do it for Van Slyke. Take strike 3, 1 down.
See, that's what that split finger fastball gets you to do. It gets you to look for that pitch to the point where the fastball gets you out. Van Slyke knew it. They had pitched 84 miles an hour. But when you're throwing all that slow stuff, because you're looking for the slow pitch, even a mediocre fastball looks a lot faster.
And the batter now, Bobby Bonilla, he singled to left field his first time up. He dunked one in front of Kevin McReynolds, and he just took a strike, so it's 0-1. Bonilla batting .313. Takes down low, 1-1. Slugging percentage of .804. On base percentage of .385. Hitting left-handed. And he takes the fastball for a strike, 1-2.
It would be a monumental task for Bobby to win the Triple Crown, but he has numbers right around there right now. Average, home runs, RBIs are right up there.
Swung and a miss, strike 3, 2 outs. I think 17 guys have won the Triple Crown in the history of baseball.
A good pitch by Darling. Trying to come inside, he throws the ball out of the strike zone. And if hitters swing out of the strike zone, don't throw them strikes.
So
you can afford to do that when it's 0-2 and 1-2.
And that's how Ron Darling got Bobby Bonilla. And he'll face Darrell Coles right now. Darnell Coles, who's 0 for 1. He popped to Wally Backman. And he fouls the ball out of play, so it's 0-1.
I think anywhere from 60 to 70% of all swinging strikeouts are on balls out of the strike zone. When you think about it, balls in the strike zone, most major league hitters are perfectly capable of hammering those pitches.
Yeah.
So deception is really on the side of the pitcher, especially with a guy like Darling, who throws that illusory split finger fastball. Looks like a strike, but isn't.
Look like the curveball right there. 2-1. Yeah, that split finger fastball will drop right out of the strike zone.
This curveball drops, it appeared right in the strike zone, but it may have been a little high. John McSherry, a very dedicated umpire.
2-1 pitch. Ground ball, third base, Hojo scored 5-3. That'll do it for the Buccos here in the top of the fourth. They fail to score, and after 3.5, no score.
Fans, make this year's 4th of July very special. Celebrate in style with the New York Mets and 9X Yellow Pages. It's 9X Yellow Pages fireworks night at Shea Stadium on Monday night, July 4th, following the Mets-Cincinnati Reds game. That starts at 7:35 p.m. Tickets can be purchased at all Ticketron outlets, Shea Stadium's advanced ticket window, or you can call 718-507-TIXX for ticket information during business hours.
And 1988 promises to be the most exciting season ever, so make your plans now in order to get the best seats available. Tickets for all Mets home games are now on sale at all Ticketron outlets, Shea Stadium's advanced ticket window, or by calling Teletron at 212-947-5850 by mail, or call 718-507-TIXX during regular business hours for more information. Now let's go for it again at Shea this season. Catch all the action and excitement of your New York Mets. It's baseball like it ought to be. So get your tickets now. Beautiful night for baseball here at Shea Stadium. Bottom of the fourth inning. No score. Starting to cool off here at Shea. No, it's not. We get a little fan in the booth. That's what. Like that. That's an illusion right there. I thought it was cooling off. It's almost 90 degrees at Shea. As Wally Backman takes the curveball for a strike. Doug Drabeck, a fine young right-hander, and of course they picked him up from the Yanks. Rick Rhoden now with the New York Yankees doing a fine job. And the 0-1 pitch to Backman is now 0-2.
I'll tell you, a guy who's doing a good job in that trade, Cecilio Guante.
Yes, he is.
He is the stopper now for Billy Martin's crew, even though he did lose last night's game on the Tom Brookins home run.
The 0-2 pitch. Pulled foul. You know, we've talked about a lot of managers. We've talked about Whitey Herzog, and we hear about Billy Martin and all that. How about Sparky Anderson, the career he's had as a manager?
Really amazing.
Well, he's done a great job in Detroit. As you look at, there's a guy who's got a great winning percentage, and he's done a fine job with the Mets. And there's a guy that's well thought of in baseball, Jim Leyland. Down low to Wally Backman, 1-2.
Everybody said that Sparky Anderson had the players with the Cincinnati Reds in the big Red Machine in the 70s. And then they said they had that he had the players in '84 when the Tigers won the World Championship. What about last year? They didn't have the players. They lost Lance Parrish. This year, after Parrish and Gibson have gone, they're half a game in front of the Yankees, even though New York thumping the Tigers tonight 5-0 in the bottom of the second inning. Jack Morris started that game. Boy, is he struggling.
Yeah, he is. And Wally Backman struggled back to the Met dugout, just striking out against Doug Drabek. One down.
First strikeout for Doug. And this is the split finger fastball. It really goes down. Doug has now won a game since May 30th when he beat the Atlanta Braves. He's lost 3 in a row, so he's been on a rather dry spell. It sounds like the Midwest, doesn't it?
Boy, it does. They're really struggling out there. The farmers with the wheat.
Boy, wheat and oats. We're in an oats crisis in this country.
Kidding.
No, it's true.
I know the wheats, they're having a
Can't
problem
feel
with
your
the
oats
wheats
anymore.
Well, Dave Maggott at 1-0 count. The batter takes down low, 2-0. One man down. Bottom of the fourth inning, no score. Quiet evening, even though there's a big crowd on hand for this game too. Tomorrow afternoon, come on out to Shea Stadium, catch these same two teams, the Buccos and the Mets. There's a strike, 2-1. Maggott in fly to center field his first time up. He'll be followed by Darryl Strawberry. And a 2-1 pitch, up high, 3-1. Four hits in his game for the Pirates, one for the Mets. And the 3-1 pitch. There's a strike, 3-2. Good fastball right on the inner part of the plate. And the 3-2 pitch. Oh boy. That's a strike. I agree. So Dave got away with larceny right there. He's down at first base with a base on ball.
If it fools the hitter, it can fool the umpire. Watch this ball tail back. Now LaValliere catches it low, but it looked to me like it was right above the knees going across the plate. Very, very close, but it appeared to be a strike.
So a break for Maggott, and boy, it can turn out to be a big break when you walk somebody with this guy up next. Hit a home run in last night's game. Hit a ball out the end of the bat that almost went over the left field fence. Hit a ball right to the 410 mark in center field. He takes a strike from Drabek.
Steve Hurt from Elias Sports Bureau told me a couple of weeks ago, now this was about 10 days ago, I guess, that Darryl Strawberry's batting average with a man at first base was something like 450. With runners in scoring position, 160. And you know, that's reasonable, because with runners in scoring position, they're not going to give Strawberry anything good to hit. But with a runner at first, you're going to give him a much better pitch to hit.
Yeah.
But Darryl's not a pull hitter, though.
Yeah.
You know, it's strange.
You know, as hot as he's been, I'll tell you, you get a couple bases open out there. Strawberry takes a strike, 1-2. Strawberry is 16 for 51 with 6 home runs and 17 RBIs in his last 14 games.
Tight with a fastball. So Drabek mixing it up on Darryl. Away, then busts him in. He's coming back inside.
Way inside. Knocks him off the plate, 2-2 on Strawberry.
If you're a fan at home, you can pretty well determine where the pitcher's going to throw the ball by where the catcher sits. LaValliere looking over at the bench right now. This is a wiggle. It might be a split finger fastball.
2-2 pitch. Strawberry fouls it off. Well, he looks so comfortable at the plate. I mentioned his 6 home runs and 17 RBIs in his last 14 games. red hot. And you're looking at a couple of the candidates so far for the MVP award, Darryl Strawberry and Bobby Bonilla. Way inside, 3-2.
Almost hits Darryl right on the right knee, but he was a little jump rope. Hotsies. You remember Hotsies? I think Magadan will be running here with 3-2, the way Strawberry's been seeing the ball.
And Darryl the line drive down left field line. Could be extra bases. Bonds goes over, gets the ball, gets it in, and Magadan holds on at third base. Strawberry at second base. So Magadan was not moving. And he had to hold up at third base.
Yeah, he would have held up at third anyway. But I think Strawberry against Draybeck, it's a good matchup that Darryl's going to put the ball in play. Maybe a tough left-hander like Smiley, no, don't send the runner. But I think against Draybeck you do. Magadan doesn't score if he's running on the play, because there is one out.
So runners on second and third.
Walk the plank, huh? Darryl's been fending off everybody. Why not Pirates?
And a batter now, Kevin McReynolds. Whoa, bullet. Wow.
Stray bullet.
Yeah, straight bullet.
Runners lead off in foul territory for this reason. If they're in fair territory and the ball hits them, then the batter is out. Here comes Jim Leland. I think he's going to ask Draybeck if he wants to pitch to McReynolds or pitch around McReynolds or walk him and then pitch to Carter. I'd walk him.
Yeah, I wouldn't pitch around anybody because it's not that easy, as you well know, to pitch around a guy.
And plus, when you pitch around guys with a guy on third base, it might end up in a wild pitch.
That's right.
It's different pitching around a guy with a runner at second and pitching around somebody with a runner at third.
It's a great picture right there. Looks like a little kid listening to those three guys. Looking at Michael Valier, doesn't it? Of course, a little kid with a mustache.
All of them have mustaches.
Well, they might try to pitch around McReynolds right here. Gary Carter on deck. The Mets, by the way, have hit 61 homers this year compared to 30 home runs for the opposition. Gary Carter's still looking for his 300th home run, and he can pop a grand slam, so if they go around him, it could key him up.
They might try to pop him inside with everything, too. Look where Sid Bream is. He's right in the baseline, about a third of the way down to second base. Unusual defense on the right side for the Pirates.
And the 0-1 pitch to McReynolds. He pulls another ball foul.
Inside. Mindy Rashbaum. Mindy made a nice play earlier.
Boy, she made an outstanding play. That's going to be our Budweiser play of the game.
Good line by Ralph.
Mindy went down and still hung on to the ball.
All right, Mindy. Met Mindy's parents the other night, Mr. and Mrs. Rashbaum, big Mets fans.
Going 2 on McReynolds. Right to Bonilla. They're going to go to the plate. Will they get him? Yep.
Why'd he hesitate? He who hesitates is out.
By a lot.
Magadan hesitates. Second, third, and one out. The worst that can happen if both runners are running is first and third. Usually a third base coach will have a sign with the runner at second. But watch Magadan hesitate. Ball is bind. And a good play by Bonilla. He saw the hesitation, and he comes home. If Magadan doesn't hesitate, he probably scores easily. Here's a better shot. Watch the hesitate. See, boom, he doesn't break right away. You got to anticipate and cheat a little bit. He's out by 5 feet. That's not good base running by Magadan.
Bonilla making a good throw, and they got Magadan, and the batter will be Gary Carter with runners on first and second with 2 men down.
See, Darrell would have ended up on third base had he known Magadan was running. But if Darrell had gotten the sign, sometimes the third base coach will go to his belt buckle to tell the runner at second that we're sending the runner at third home. He can't talk to him. He's got to have a sign. So maybe if Darrell was going to third, he saw the hesitation and didn't break.
Well, 2 outs. Gary Carter took the pitch off the plate for a strike. Nice catching by LaValliere. Runners on first and second base. 2 down. Doug Drabeck pitching to Gary Carter. Ooh, nice block by LaValliere.
Yeah, that's a great play. That's one of those 58 feet curveballs. That means it bounces 2.5 feet in front of the catcher. It bounces out in front of the plate. Those are the tough ones. The ones behind the plate are just short hops. They're not nearly as tough as the ball in front of the plate. Good play, LaValliere.
So 1-1 on Carter. Drabeck wants the signs again.
Phillies on top of those oncoming Chicago Cubs, 4-1 in the bottom of the fourth.
We'll see the Cubs Thursday afternoon right here on Sports Channel. The Cubs and the Mets from Wrigley Field in Chicago. 1-1 pitch, and Carter, it's a line drive, but Belliard is there and makes the play for out number 3. So the Mets strand 2 runners here in the bottom of the 4th inning, and after 4 complete innings of play, no score. Well, we have big crowd on hand here at Shea Stadium. And speaking of Shea Stadium and the New York Mets, we want to wish a gentleman happy birthday, Bill Shea. A fine gentleman, a barrister here in New York, outstanding barrister. And Bill Shea here at the ballpark, enjoying Met baseball. You're watching all the action live exclusively on Sports Channel. The Pirates and the Mets. Top of the 5th inning. It's been slow so far. No score. Hot and humid. Sid Bream takes a strike.
Yeah, pitching does that. Pitching anesthetizes crowds. But they can be so interesting and so exciting, low-scoring games. The beauty of the game, the majesty of the game really comes out, I think.
At the ballpark.
Yeah.
More so at the ballpark.
I think so. But even at home, for the baseball purist, and they're becoming more and more baseball purists.
Down low, 1-2 on Bream.
You see where the American League drew more people than they've ever drawn over the weekend. It was the biggest weekend attendance, and something like they've gone over 1 million in attendance over the weekend, like 7 weekends this year.
Well, Cleveland Indians, I'm sure it's something to do with
Yeah,
that.
sure.
I think they drew 155,000 for a 3-game series.
That is really great to see.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. Baseball getting even more popular.
Boston playing at Cleveland, top of the 3rd, 4-4.
2-2 on Sid Bream, and he fouls the ball out of play.
This guy's a good ball player. I don't think he gets enough credit in the Pirates scheme of things. He was a starting first baseman for the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1985 when opening day, Greg Brock was on the DL.
There's a ground ball to Magadan, and he goes to Darling, scored 3-1, 1 down.
Did I say the Dodgers? Or did I say
the Pirates?
I said the Pirates, the Dodgers. Back in 1985.
With 1 man down now, the batter will be Mike LaValliere. I found that an interesting trade. The Cardinals trading LaValliere away. Eddie Herzog and Jim Fregosi. Fregosi was managing Louisville at the time, the AAA ball club. As LaValliere takes outside ball 1, and when he was traded away Fregosi, who managed him, said he'll throw out more runners than Tony Pena, and he did. And he won the Gold Glove last year. Of course, Whitey had him in the major leagues and traded him in that three-player deal. Sometimes a manager becomes infatuated with an opposing player and wants, and Pena's doing a fine job for the Cardinals.
Pena's a good player. There's no question about it. He broke his wrist last year, was out for 6 weeks. But Mike's had that tag throughout his career. The Phillies had him buried in their minor league system. As a matter of fact, they liked the way he called the game, and he was a very bright catcher, understood a lot of things. They wanted to make him a minor league manager.
Well, he's a major league catcher, and as I mentioned, a Gold Glover. He just hit a fly ball to Lenny Dykstra, 2 down.
Mike said, nope, I think I can play, and I'll worry about managing in the minor leagues later on. Very quick release.
And a batter now, Rafael Belliard. 1 for 1 in his ball game. Back he singled to left field back in the 2nd inning. On that single, Bobby Bonilla tried to score from second base. He was cut down by Kevin McReynolds. And a nice tag by Gary Carter. So we have a 0-0 ball game here in the top of the 5th with 2 men down. Pirates, by the way, lead the National League in runs with 310, walks with 250. And how about triples with 21? Belliard hits the ball right back up the middle. He cued that ball.
It's a big hit right there. Clears the pitcher. Second hit of the ball game for Belliard, and the first hit since Barry Bonds' infield hit back in the 3rd inning. Rafael's doing a lot better with the bat this year. That's all Jim Leland wants him to do is hit around 250. And you hit around 3 something, and of course accept that.
Jim Leland had an interesting statement last night. We were talking to Jim before the game, and Doug Draper gets a ground ball to Howard Johnson. We'll give you that statement in a few minutes, but Howard Johnson just threw out the pitcher, Doug Draper. Ron Darling talking to Gary Carter. That'll do it for the Pirates. A quiet evening here at Shea. There's no score, and Tim and I will be back. Well, we're back here at Shea Stadium. Again, a big crowd on hand. The Mets and the Pirates. You're watching all the action exclusively on SportsChannel. And there's the National League Eastern Division.
Boy, look at the Cubs. 5 over 500. They have won 5 in a row. And Franny mentioned that we will be on SportsChannel on Thursday as you digest those numbers. And the pitching matchup, Sid Fernandez and Greg Maddux. The pitcher with the most victories in the National League. He has 12. David Cohn against Calvin Schiraldi on Friday. A nationally televised game on Saturday. Bobby Ojeda and Jamie Moyer. And then Ron Darling against Jeff Pico. And we'll be on the air at 2:20 New York time Sunday afternoon also. So 2 games on SportsChannel against the Red Hot Cubs.
Well, if you can win 20 games with the Cubs, not many pitchers do it. I guess Fergie Jenkins is the first one that comes to mind. How many other guys? Did Kenny Holtzman win 20 games with the Cubs?
Maybe in the early 70s, possibly.
He was a good pitcher. Nice guy. 0-1 on Howard Johnson. Curveball, and Hojo bunted. It's the great race. It's a base hit. So Howard Johnson with a bunt single. How about that?
Well, how about how fast Lean gets to the ball? Lean, the second baseman, gets to the ball in a hurry so quickly, as a matter of fact, that I think he overran it. Didn't have control speed when he got to it. The only way to make the play was the bare hand ball. That's tough for a second baseman. You got to play Johnson deep. It's tough when Howard drags the ball.
Did you, you probably didn't have time. Last night you were in Detroit during the game of the week, and Jose Lean made a play last night.
I saw it. Yeah,
we did see it.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Oh, boy. Well, anyways, Johnson at first, he was leaning.
Leaning.
Yeah, he was really. That's true. I'll tell you, Howard almost fell down. He was leaning so much. Kevin Elster with a bat in his hand, nobody out. And they check Howard Johnson. Wiseman check Howard. Howard Johnson, he wants to get in the 40-40 club, or at least the 30-30 club again right now. Johnson with 11 stolen bases, 10 dingers, 29 RBIs. Check Johnson again. Well, it's amazing how quiet it can be with around 50,000 people in a stadium. There goes Johnson, swing on and miss, throw to second, not in time. Yes, it is. He bounced the ball, good play by Jose Lean. Staying right there, catching the ball and applying the tag.
See, that's the advantage of having a second baseman on the bag. A hit and run play. And remember, Draybeck throwing over there kept Johnson a half a step closer. But look at the play by Lean. Right on the bag. There's a big advantage of being on the bag as opposed to in front of the bag and bringing the ball back. Fine play by Lean. But Kevin Elster missing the fastball. And that's why LaValliere had a shot at it.
Swung on and missed the breaking ball there. 0-2. LaValliere get rid of the ball in a hurry, and it's just an example of a bad throw, which wasn't really that bad. He bounced the ball, and he got a good hop. Ordinarily, you bounce the ball on a natural surface, you have an unpredictable hop as opposed to the artificial turf where you get that true hop.
Yep.
1-2 on Kevin Elster. He'll be followed by Ron Darling. The 1-2 pitch. Boy, just missed outside.
Take another look at Hojo. You remember, it's not his responsibility. You see what he did there? He went back on his left foot and then back on his right foot, kind of spinning his wheels a bit when he took off. But you're not supposed to have a good jump on a hit and run play. It's like a 3-2 count. You've got to make sure the pitcher throws it home. And in a lot of plays in baseball, it's like a partnership. You're going to take off, and then the hitter's supposed to put the ball in play. That's his responsibility. But it was you should say, a limiting partnership on that particular play. Not limited, limiting.
Howard Johnson got all the liability. Fouled off. So the count is 3-2 on Kevin Elster.
Right.
In fact, Howard might have been the majority partner in that partnership. There it is, negotiations. I like it. You got to be at your best when you're negotiating the bullpen.
There's Jim Gott.
How about a play?
See, the thing about Kevin is it's not necessarily, as you look at Gott again, it's not necessarily the outs that he's been making that is disturbing the Mets and Bill Robinson, the hitting instructor. He's hitting the ball in the air too much. It's the consistency of his outs that are popped up, the bottom half of the ball.
I think it's because he doesn't get his hands back in a hitting position.
You picked up on that first, and there it is again. Everything is under instead of top half. Watch. Fran, you're the first one that brought it to our attention right here on Sports Channel, and with that particular type of swing, when you bring the hands forward, you can be fooled on a pitch, and the body can go forward, but the hands have to stay back. As long as the hands go forward with the body, you're going to do what Kevin has been doing, pop up a lot of balls, foul balls back, hit balls in the air.
And he cues that ball. Boy, this is like a pool game. We see so many balls cued. That's a very good play by Doug Drabek. 2 down.
Next up, the pitcher, Ron Darling.
And there it is again. You can see the hands coming forward with the body. See, when you fool like that, your body, you're taking the strength away from your body. Your hands going forward. You can almost simulate that at home. Everybody get up in their living room right now. By the numbers. We'll do it in the 7th inning stretch. Ralph will be back, and Ralph and I will help you. We'll go through it by the numbers.
How about this, another cue shot?
Ralph's probably practicing in the press room right now. Of course, it's tough for him to practice because Ralph always stayed back on it. But really, that's what you're doing. You're going forward, and the hands are going forward. That's really what Kevin's doing right now, right? Going forward.
And some guys, it's natural when they go back. You know, you and Ralph might have had that natural preparation. Some guys have to consciously work on it. And believe me, I can tell you about consciously working on it.
Oh, listen, I can too. All of us had to work on it.
I think some guys, it's just a natural, like Roberto Clemente. Remember his body be way out front and his hands would go back?
The hands are back. Now see the hands coming forward? That's a front foot hitter with the hands forward instead of the body going forward and leaving the hands back.
Swung on a miss by Darling, 1 and 2.
Easier said than done, especially with the young hitter who is yet to have his feet on the ground.
You got to do it from left side. You don't look natural.
There
it is.
But if the body goes forward and the hands are still back, then you still have your power left to hit, right?
Yeah, you didn't look natural with that right-handed stroke.
I was trying to do what Kevin Elster.
Score that one 5-3. That'll do it for the Mets. Here in the bottom of the 5th, they fail to score and get a pretty good ball game here. There's no score after 5, and Tim and I will return. We're in the top of the 6th inning here at Shea Stadium, and the score is 0-0, the Buccos and the Mets.
Travel arranged through Eastern Airlines. Fly nonstop from Newark to Kansas City, where connections to the West are quick and convenient. Eastern, the first-class airline to and from Kansas City.
Well, Barry Bonds, wearing number 24, will lead it off for the Pirates as we go to the top of the 6th inning. No score here at Shea Stadium. Last night we were talking about that number 24 Barry Bonds is wearing, and I know Bobby, his father, was very close to Willie Mays. And I asked Barry before the ball game about that number, and he said that's why he's wearing it. He was a Willie Mays fan. Of course, he was a baby when Willie Mays was playing. And he takes strike 1. Willie Mays wore it so well, starting off here in New York. I remember coming into New York when I was 6 years old to watch Willie Mays play. Swung on and missed, 0-2.
Best player I ever saw.
Well, he was a great one, wasn't he? I remember Orlando Cepeda when he was at the Kansas City Royals. Of course, there was a lot of people felt they didn't get along out there in San Francisco. Orlando Cepeda said nobody will ever be better than Willie Mays. He said somebody might be as good, but nobody will ever be better. There's a line drive right at Dave Magadan on one hop. He plays it and takes it himself, 1 down.
The reason that Barry Bonds is not running, he bruised his left knee in an injury in St. Louis on Friday night. You and Ralph were talking about him not running earlier in the game, trying to go to second base, but he does have a damaged left knee and still looks to be damaged.
Yeah, he was questionable. Jim Leland said that he went to him before the series and said, I want to play in this series, and that's why he's playing. Jose Lean, the batter, Lean 0 for 2 in his ball game, grounded to short, hit into a 4-4-3 double play. 0-1 on Lean. 1-1 on Lean. You missed last night's ball game. You missed a great play by this guy.
That was an interesting graphic. He and Cal Ripken are the only 2 major leaguers to have played in every inning this year. Cal Ripken Jr.
2-2. Cal Ripken Jr. is an old hand at that. Of course, Cal Ripken Sr. would like to have been involved in every game this year, but he was dismissed by Edward Bennett Williams, the owner of the Baltimore Orioles. 2-2 on Lean. He fouls the ball out of play. You know, a lot of people felt that if you played every day, it would take its toll on you as a player. And I asked Steve Garvey the question in Los Angeles this year when I saw him. I asked him if he felt, if he had to do over again, would he have gotten out of the lineup? He said no. He said it took me too long to get into the lineup as a major league player, and I wasn't getting out of it. There's a ground ball base hit into center field for Jose Lean. And the 6th hit of the game for the Pirates. The Mets have 3.
Center fielder, Andy Van Slyke.
Jose, not a strong hitter, but does make contact, and he finds a hole. That's the thing. See, you can't find any holes in the air. All the holes are in the ground. Kind of like drilling for oil.
Yeah, you got to drill down.
Yeah. Look for oil in the air, do you?
No, not at all. In fact, I think you're referring to the balls that Kevin Elster will pop
Yeah,
up.
well, I mean, that's an example. Unless you're big and strong, there's no money in the air. It's in the ground.
And Kevin is a good athlete. He should be a good major league hitter. Hit over 300 last year in AAA. He's proven he can hit. One out, lean on first, the batter Andy Van Slyke, and he takes a ball inside. 1-0.
Now, he's proven he can hit in the minor leagues. And
That's
there's
right.
a big
Sure,
difference.
I agree. But
you know.
I mean, he didn't come out of the minor leagues as a 210 hitter.
No, that's right.
So there is some potential there.
Sure.
But I agree, there's a big gap between AAA and the major leagues, no doubt about it.
Speaking of oil, that's Van Slyke's nickname, Slick.
He's a character, Andy Van Slyke.
Big disparity right there. Man, 130 points.
1-0 pitch is foul off, and so it's 1-1.
211 against left-handers and 348 against right-handers. Wow.
Right now he's facing a right-hander, and Ron Darling is looking down at Gene Lamont, who's been rumored to be in a position to go to Seattle and take over the managerial reins there.
See his line about that?
He doesn't want it. Foul off.
Well, they asked him if he had applied for the job in Seattle, and he said no. Nobody who ever applies for a job is hired.
That's right. Gene, of course, a major league catcher. A lot of catchers in that dugout. Jim Leland. Milt Mays in the dugout. He's a fine major league catcher with the Pirates. 1-2 on Andy Van Slyke. Ron Darling checks Jose Lean. And a 1-2 pitch. Down and in. 2-2. Boy, you're looking at a franchise really turning it around in Pittsburgh. They feel they'll sell over 2 million tickets this year.
That's great.
They're expecting about 45,000 for that game Monday night in Pittsburgh, the Pirates and the Mets, next Monday night. Of course, SportsChannel will have that game Tuesday night. 2-2 pitch. Ground ball to first. Magadan tags the bag, throws to second in time. A reverse force double play. That'll do it for the Pirates. Here in the top of the sixth, they fail to score, and so have the Mets. And we'll be back. Oh, there's Mackey Sasser.
Now, boy, Mackey's really in the game. You know, between innings, this is an action shot. Our action cam caught Mackey doing this.
He was yawning between innings. Talking to Mackey, there it is.
This is a yawner, isn't it, Mackey?
That's a replay. Talking to Mackey before the ball game as you see that double play. And Mackey started off as a shortstop. How about that?
Remember in Star Wars, May the Force be with you? Not only was the Force not in effect at second base, but Kevin Elster may have gotten spiked in the leg. We'll try to find out if it is serious.
And Lenny Dykstra steps in to face Doug Drabek. And the crowd's coming alive here in the bottom of sixth, and so is Dykstra's back. Base hit to left field. Fourth hit of the game for the Mets.
Second baseman, Wally Jackson.
Lenny had an idea about bunting. He might have been out of the box again. Lenny comes up so much in that batter's box that it's questionable a lot of times as to whether he's out of the box or not. Look for the bunt here. I think maybe straight sacrifice. Bonilla at third base is expecting it.
So Lenny Dykstra leading off first base. Wally Backman, the batter. Backman batting .254. He's 0 for 2 tonight. He'll be followed by Magadan.
Good play by Drebeck. He stepped off just to see if Backman would tip his hand too soon and show bunt.
And he does bunt the ball. It's a beauty. Will they get? No! How about that? Wally Backman beating the throw to first base. The Mets have runners on first and second, and the crowd comes alive here at Shea.
Alger Hiss couldn't have made this blueprint any better. Look at this. Nobody can make that play. That was an absolutely perfect bunt by Wally.
So, Alger on first, Lenny on second, and here comes Jim. Dave Magadan, the next batter. Now, Jim Leland, the bullpen we'll see some activity out there.
Well, here's one of those unusual situations where I think if Drebeck falls behind in the count, that a good play would be a hit and run. The Mets rarely do that, hit and run with runners at first and second. You don't want to, if you bunt here, you're going to lose Strawberries at bat. You'd like to see Magadan pull the ball and at worst maybe get a first and third situation.
That's right.
Jones, the right-hander, Dave Rooker, the left-hander. This is a tough situation, not only defensively, but offensively too. But whenever you're in a position where you don't want to bunt with runners at first and second and nobody out, a good alternative, if you've got a good matchup, is a hit and run. You hear a lot of managers talk about it in spring training, but you don't see them do it a lot.
Especially with the runners, you mean on first and second?
Yeah, first and second and no outs.
It is a great play. I don't know why they don't do it more, especially with a guy like Magadan with the bat in his hand. So Davey Johnson with a lot of options right now. Magadan batting 284. He'll be followed by Strawberry. And Magadan takes inside, ball one. I think you hit it right in the nose. They're not going to open up first base. Again, Jim Leland said here on SportsChannel last night, he's not going to allow Strawberry to beat him. So as you mentioned, Tim, if they sacrifice him over, he's going to be walked.
Yep.
There's Darryl. And a 1-0 pitch. Fly ball, deep center field. Van Slyke under it, and he makes the catch. Wally should stay at first as Dykstra heads to third, and Wally stays at first. So you have runners on the corners for Darryl Strawberry.
I know what you're thinking, too. If he goes to second on a ball like that, they'll walk Strawberry. If that's true, why wouldn't you walk Strawberry here anyway?
I would.
It'd take a lot of guts, boy.
I would. I'll tell you one thing, that base is open. He's going to do it.
He might.
Or he's going to talk to him. Well, I'll tell you.
You might see the left-hander here.
The way Strawberry's hitting left-handers.
9 home runs against left-handers. Leads all major league hitters with home runs against left-handers. Make that 10 from last night.
John Smiley.
Yeah.
Well, Michael Valier talking to Doug Drebeck. That base is open down on second base. Yep, they're going to walk him.
How about that?
That's a strong move.
That takes a lot of guts. But I'll tell you, if Backman, you said it, Freddie, if Backman stays at first for that reason, why not go ahead and walk him? Counter Backman's strategy.
That's right. That's a good move by Jim Leland.
That's how dominating this man has become in the National League.
That's right. He reminds me of the way McCovey dominated for a few years with the Giants. And Sparky Anderson, we talked about him earlier, used to do this to McCovey. Never pitched him.
1969 tie ball game, Wrigley Field, top of the ninth, McCovey leading off. DeRocha walked him intentionally. Tie ball game, Wrigley Field.
That's going to happen. Boy, this guy's an exciting player. If you haven't been out here to Shea Stadium, come on out, boy. This guy electrifies the joint.
You know, that move makes sense. I don't care what happens. It just takes a manager with enough guts to do it, and Leland certainly has shown that he has enough courage to do it.
Well, he was hurt last night. He said it. I'm not going to let Strawberry hurt me. An hour later, Strawberry hits a home run and puts the Mets ahead of the Buccos. So tonight he just said, walk him. Let's see what happens. Because the problem you've got is you're going to face another good Major League hitter, although he's been cold lately, Kevin McReynolds. But you're not facing a slouch with a bat in his hand. You're not going after an 8th or 9th hitter. So it's Drabek against McReynolds. Leland's strategy. Outside, ball 1.
All you have to do is have McReynolds get very, very hot, and then they'll quit walking Strawberry. But until McReynolds and Carter start hitting in bunches, they're going to continue to do things like that.
And a 1-0 pitch to McReynolds with the bases loaded, down low, 2-0. For 5 innings, the crowd was dormant. They've come alive. A bold move by that guy, Jim Leland, in walking Darryl Strawberry. Two-0 pitch, fouled off. Leland had LaValliere go out to talk to Drabek. It might have gave him a few moments to think about, walking Strawberry, because when LaValliere came back to the plate, he put up the 4 fingers to walk him.
That's the difference, though. That is a good point. Now, I think you're exactly right, but that's the difference in when you're hitting and not hitting. Kevin McReynolds getting his pitch and fouling it off.
Yeah.
A 2-0 fastball.
Now it's 2-1. 1 out. Bases jammed. Whoa, borderline. 3-1.
It's one of these El Paso fastballs. Right on the border.
That's exactly right. A lot of pressure on this guy, boy, to implement the strategy. Popped up once again, missing the pitch, 3-1.
It's when you're in a slump. 2-0, 3-1. He had both the pitches and fouls them off.
You know, many times we've said that manager's strategy, people don't pay to see it, but I'll tell you, that strategy right there makes the game interesting here in the 6th inning. Walking Darryl Strawberry, moving Wally Backman down to second base, and the bases are loaded. 3-2 on McReynolds. Pop foul again. Ball might have been out of the strike zone, but maybe too close to take.
You know, there's a little committing of Kevin opening up. See the stride coming out, that opening the shoulder. He and Carter both are doing similar things wrong with that front shoulder. That is really a key.
Once again, a 3-2 pitch.
It's a drive. It's way back. It's gone. A home run. A grand slam home run by Kevin McReynolds. And listen to this place. Gary Carter
Tough act to follow, Gary. Takes the curveball up high, ball one. And you can't second guess Leland's strategy.
Look at that front shoulder there. That front shoulder keying. And I mean, he crushes this ball. Crushes it.
And Gary Carter hits a high fly ball to left center field. Dan Slike is under it, and he makes the catch. 2 down. Boy, the Mets. One swing of the bat. Wow. 4-0.
Have you ever seen strategy backfire any worse
No.
than Jim Leland?
And dramatic strategy backfiring.
man.
How?
Look at the front shoulder. Wow. We're going to try to get you the pitch before the home run and then the home run. Boy, oh, well, he crushed that ball. He's in his home run trot. Don't pass anybody.
0-1 on
Don't
Howard
do that.
Johnson. Kevin McReynolds. Jim Leland. Strategy that backfired, but it can't be second guessed. What an impact Darryl Strawberry, as Tim said, has on this game. Just by walking, he allows McReynolds to hit the grand slam.
I wonder if he'll do it the next time. Leland, that is.
I would. As hot as Strawberry's been, you like you said, it took a lot of guts to do it the first time.
Sure did. I mean, you can. Darryl is not doing anything and doing something.
That's right. Well put. Fly ball center field. They should do it for the Mets. And Slike makes the catch, but the Mets go on the board on a grand slam by that guy right there. Ralph will join Tim. Excitement and cheering, and the score 4-zip Mets.
Ron Darling takes a 4-0 lead to the top of the 7th inning. Sound strategy that backfired on Jim Leland and Doug Drabek. Here's Bobby Bonilla to lead off the 7th and Ralph Kiner back in. Interesting bottom of the 6th.
And the strategy didn't work because of Drabek. He got behind the batter. 2 balls, no strikes. Threw a fastball. He didn't get it. He got behind 3-1. Threw a fastball. He fouled it off. And then had to come in on the 3-2 pitch. And that's why it didn't work.
1 out here in the 7th. Let's take a look at the foul ball now that he hit right before the grand slam, Ralphie.
Now watch this swing. It's a terrible swing. He's totally opened up, and he's lucky to foul the ball up. But now he gets a 3-2 fastball right down the middle. And he's got a perfect swing on it. He was just pitching behind in the count, and it caught up with him. And that'll do it to you every time.
Darnell Coles now is 0 for 2. Kevin McReynolds' first grand slam as a New York Met. Lifted to center, Dykstra. 2 outs, Darling sails right along. Next batter, Sid Bream.
That was a 12th home run thrown up by Drabek. And of course, it was a very, very tough home run with the bases loaded. The Mets tied at the time.
Sid 1 for 2 on the evening, and the curveball, strike 1. Darling doing a marvelous job of mixing up his fastball, curveball, and split finger fastball.
Only one time has Ron failed to go 7 innings in a ball game this year in his 14 game starts. That was on June 10th against Montreal. He was knocked out after 4 1/3.
There's the splitter. 0-2. Sid from Carlisle, Pennsylvania, right down the road from a very famous, well, actually it's the town that Jim Thorpe was from, but I understand they have named a town around there Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. It's not Carlisle, I don't believe.
No, it's actually Jim Thorpe. And many, many people consider him to be the greatest athlete that ever lived.
Outside, 2-2.
He did play some Major League Baseball. He also, of course, was a great football player, and he was the decathlon champion in the Olympics.
Medals restored after being taken away for so many years.
Well, they took the medals away because they said he was a professional playing semi-pro baseball. He took $1 or something to play.
Kevin Elster back, and run off by McReynolds. The Pirates go in order in the 7th, middle of the 7th, 4-0 New York. Now let's join Lee Zeidman in our studios for a Sports Channel update.
Okay, Tim, Yankees getting ready to jump back into first place. They've got the Tigers in a hole at Detroit. Let's take a look. Top of the 2nd, Yanks break open the game. They score 4 times. Jack Clark rips a shot into the left field corner. Dave Winfield scores, so does Jack Clark. Actually, Clark winds up with a stand-up double. 5-0 Yankees in the top of the 6th. That's the story there. The complete sports report with New York Sports Nightly after the game. We'll send you back to Shea after this.
Out, but it's very close to it. Big crowd on hand. We don't have the official total yet. We'll give it to you as soon as it's given to us. Kevin Elster leads it off. A 4-run barrage in the bottom of the 6th inning. Strike 1 to Elster, and we'll try to tell you how that happened. Lynn Dykstra led off with a single. Wally Backman a perfect bunt. And Dave Magadan flied deep to center field, moving Dykstra to third. Outside, 1-1. Then with runners at first and third and 1 out, Jim Leland walked Darryl Strawberry intentionally. That's right, walked him intentionally. And Kevin McReynolds, after fouling off a couple of pitches, hit a 3-2 fastball for his first grand slam as a Met. His 2nd career. 2 balls and a strike to Elster. Kevin now 11 away from Ralph Kiner's 13. We'll get to see your number retired for the first time next Monday.
That's right. They'll have, I don't know
Have
what
it
they
up.
do. I guess they'll have it up, huh?
Yep. They better have it up. Fly ball, right field. Darnell Cole's back, and he makes the play. And Ron Darling will get a nice hand.
Now batting, the pitcher, Ron Darling.
Ralph's number finally retired by the Pirates last year. Last series in there, and very moving ceremony. You had your family there, and
Really was a nice affair, and of
Really
course,
was.
got to thank the Pirates for putting on the ceremony. It really came off wonderfully well. They did it in a first-class vein. It was really done well.
Darling fouls it away, 0-1 to Ronnie. Ronnie is sacrificed and grounded to third. 4-0 New York. Errorless ball game, a rapidly moving game. Each side with 6 hits.
The only bad part about that night, it was the night that Arthur Richmond fell and injured
Yeah.
himself, and he's back in the hospital again, having a little bit of difficulty with the drainage of the knee from the operation.
Very strange going on a trip without Arthur Richmond's expertise.
Well, you know he's hurting if he missed Chicago.
Yeah, that's right. 4 nights to eat out.
Probably save $1,000 though.
Huh. Interesting little graphic. Boy, our graphics department is hot tonight. Mark Topaz doing his usual good job down there. Of course, it's a labor of love for Mark anyway. Does it for next to nothing. Foul back, still 2-2. Well, we wonder what that score is. We'll try to get a score. The Pistons and the Lakers going at each other. We'll give you the total crowd in just a little while. We just are getting that right now. Outside, 3-2.
Total crowd of 46,868. The paid crowd 45,225. So big gate sale here tonight on a beautiful summer night, the first day of summer.
Summer solstice has arrived.
And they tied a record for the hottest day on this day ever recorded here in New York. I believe it was 97 degrees at the high point.
17-17, Pistons and Lakers, first quarter. Don't know whether Isaiah Thomas is in there or not. Sprained ankle, deep to right, but Coles buries it in his glove. 2 outs, and Len Dykstra, the batter.
Now batting, center fielder Lenny Dykstra.
Lenny started that 6th inning with a base hit to left field and scored on Kevin Elster's grand slam home run. That has been the scoring tonight.
Lenny, when he hit
Kevin
that
McReynolds,
single,
pardon me.
Lenny, when he hit that single, double stepped.
Yeah,
And you point out he might have been out of the batter's box. You don't see many batters take a double step in the batter's box. If you had time to do it, that's the way you would hit a home run. Double step. You can really wind up that way. But of course, you don't have that kind of time. Occasionally you'll see a batter double step.
that fastball's on top of you too quickly. Fouled away, 0-2. By the way, we have found out that Isaiah Thomas is playing on that sprained ankle. I guess if you're going for the World Championship, nothing hurts, right?
Well, it's got to hurt, but you got to play.
Yep.
Don't get many chances.
You'll feel it for the rest of the year.
That's right. No tomorrow.
Another one fouled away. That's Karen, our right field ball girl. Or I guess in this day of persons, bald person. Sounds strange. Still 0-2 to Dykstra. 2 outs, 4-0 New York. Bottom of the 7th. Still 0-2. Keeping Karen active down the right field line. Karen saying, give Mindy a little, give me a break down here. Come on. That'd be quite a thrill. There's Mindy Rashbaum. Mindy's saying, hey, I haven't had a ball a couple innings. I don't know. What? Probably signing autograph. Up's getting notes. What's going on? Little looper left. It might drop. But there's Barry Bonds, having played Dykstra perfectly. As the Mets go in order here in the 7th inning, it's 4-0 New York, and we'll be back. Well, those fresh-faced youngsters enjoying the game.
How about those blue eyes?
Oh, my goodness. Guys are going to be in trouble in about 20 years. Broken hearts left in her wake. Mike LaValliere leads it off here in the top of the 8th inning, 4-0 New York. Mike has flied out to center a couple of times tonight. Each side with 6 hits, an errorless game. The offense in dramatic fashion. A grand slam home run by Kevin McReynolds in the 6th inning. 1-1 to LaValliere. Two and 1. Take a look at how economizing Darling and Draybeck have been.
Darling only 84 pitches coming in.
Another fly to center. And LaValliere has done it 3 times. Dykstra with only 4 putouts in center field, 3 from LaValliere. Take a look at those pitches one more time.
84 pitches for Darling. 54 of the 84 strikes. The other pitches, 30 out of the strike zone. 108 pitches for Draybeck and 64 strikes.
Like Denny Gonzalez now will be the pinch hitter for Rafael Belliard, who has 2 of the 6 hits.
Pitch hitting for Rafael.
Yeah, Belliard has handled the case pretty well. He singled the left field in the second. And on the play, Bobby Bonilla was thrown out at home by Kevin McReynolds. That kept the Pirates from scoring in the second inning, final out of the inning. Then with 2 men out in the 5th inning, he singled to center field. So he's being put back on the bench for Gonzalez, and Gonzalez is hitting .333, 2 for 6.
Curveball, ball 1 to Denny from Samana Grande Bahia down in the Dominican Republic. Yet another fine talent coming from that land where baseball is revered. Baseball and sugarcane. You know, I heard a story one time that some of the younger Dominican Republic players that come to the United States, a lot of times it's the first time that they visit dentists, popped up, and it may be playable. Carter drifting back, and he makes the play. 2 out. And when they visit dentists, there are an uncommon number of cavities, and the reason I understand is because the youngsters down in the Dominican Republic chew on sugar cane all the time. It's not that the dentists are any worse down there, but it's just that the sugar content in the sugar cane that upon which they chew, and that leads to cavities. Well, a guy with the Pirates, I guess you could say, that's filled the big hole since coming over from the Dodgers, R.J. Reynolds. R.J. only batting .240 this year. He has 4 home runs.
It was R.J. Reynolds that got the 6-run rally started in the 7th inning last night. Came in as a pinch hitter and got an infield base hit, and that got it going. 8 consecutive singles.
Popped up again. Elster makes the play. So another strong inning for Darling. 7.5 through which we've gone. It's 4-0, New York. Fans, come see the Mets play the Astros on Thursday, June 30th at 7:35 p.m. and receive for free something that even money can't buy. It's Conn's Beef Franks Baseball Card Night. Every fan who attends that evening's game will receive a set of full-color action baseball cards of every Mets player. Also included is a card of Davey Johnson, Mets coaches, and a team photo, courtesy of the Mets and Conn's Beef Franks. Mets ticket information is available by calling 718-507-TIXX during business hours.
And next January, well, you can live the life of a big leaguer at the Mets Dream Week, surrounded by former Mets greats like Bud Harrelson, Ron Hunt, Al Jackson, Felix Millan, and Duffy Dyer. It's a full week of living, learning, and playing with the pros at the brand new St. Lucie County Sports Complex in Port St. Lucie, Florida. For complete information on the Mets fans' dream of a lifetime, call the Mets at 718-706-4100. That's 706-4100.
Denny Gonzalez remains in the game, and he'll play shortstop. And on the mound in relief of Doug Drabek is Dave Rooker, and we've seen him before.
Dave Rooker with a record of no wins, no losses, and no earned run average at all. This will be his 7th appearance for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's worked 7 1/3 innings, given up 8 hits while walking none, making that while walking 2 and striking out 4.
And David, a guy through sheer tenacity, clinging to his major league career and to his baseball career, was last in the big leagues with the Philadelphia Phillies back in 1986. Originally signed with Detroit way back in 1978. He has been around, and he'll be facing Wally Backman. Ball 1. Wally, a key bunt in that 4-run 6th inning. An inning in which Kevin McReynolds hit his first Grand Slam home run as a Met. Fouled off, 1-1. High, ball 2. 2 balls and a strike.
Backman is a right-hand batter, 5 for 17.
Hits it well to left center, and it's going to fall. And Wally's going to stop at second with his 3rd double of the year. As a matter of fact, only 3 extra base hits for Wally. He hit that ball with resounding thunder.
This ball hits the base of the fence out in left center field. His first extra base hit this year, batting right-handed, and he hit it hard.
Yeah.
Bounce off the fence, and he goes in with a double. His natural side in hitting is right-handed, but he is so much better hitting left-handed than right. Right there, he came right back across everybody up.
So Dave Magadan will be up. Now we'll see if Dave bunts. A 4-0 ball game. Mets on top, bottom of the 8th inning. Strawberry on deck. High, ball 1. Davey Johnson eschews the bunt on most occasions. He does not like the sacrifice and really abhors the squeeze.
He's from the Earl Weaver school. 3-run home runs, the only way to do it. He looked at Jim Leland.
Slider catches the corner, 1-1.
Earlier in the ball game, when the Mets got their 4 runs, Leland elected to walk Strawberry with a runner at first and a runner at third to load the bases to get to Kevin McReynolds. McReynolds with a grand slam home run.
1-1 to Magadan. Fly ball, left field, back deep is Bonds, and he can't get to it. It bounces over the fence for a ground rule double. Magadan's going to stop. He's going to continue, but he has to stop at second. He hit that ball a ton to left field. 5-0 New York.
Oh, Magadan gets his first hit of the night to drive in a run. He had his first home run of the season last night to drive in 2. And Bobby Bonds, who was playing out a bad leg, couldn't quite get to it, and it bounces over the fence. So Magadan puts the Mets up 5-0.
Yeah, I think he catches that ball if his wheel's better. Darryl Strawberry doubled in the 4th. He walked in the 2nd, and as Ralph said, he was intentionally walked in the 6th. Ball 1. Swings at a bad ball, a sweeping slider, 1-1.
Well, here's the last pitch on the replay, a little flat slider that moves away from Darryl Strawberry, and he does not put a good swing on it.
Deep to left field, but Bonds is there. Magadan tagging. Bonds will throw quickly to third base. An errant throw, but Magadan wasn't going anyway. So 1 out here in the 8th inning. The batter, Kevin McReynolds.
Well, Kevin with the crowd on his side now after the grand slam home run, his 2nd in his major league career, his 1st for the Mets.
Also the 2nd grand slam of the year for the Mets. Keith Hernandez had the other one. He hit it off Charlie Puleo back on the 26th of April. Deep to left. Is it fair? Just foul. Oh, boy. 0-1.
Oh, Kevin out in front of this fastball, and it was far enough to be a home run. but it was foul. And right here he puts a good swing on it. Bonds over to take a look, and it hits.
Wow.
Foul by about a foot.
Hooking at the last minute. 0-1. Fouled away, 0-2 to Kevin. The Mets offense since that coast trip on May 22nd. It'll be exactly a month tomorrow, of course. But their offense has consisted of few base runners and big hits. Primarily home runs. Big home runs. But not many hits. Strong, strong pitching. 6-point lead for the Lakers over Detroit. So Magic's working magic. 1-2 to McReynolds, 5-0 New York. Took something off the fastball, still 1-2 to McReynolds.
Mets now lead in home runs with 62. Jim Leyland's team second to the Mets. They have 60 home runs, but they lead in runs scored.
Left field, and it's going to drop. Magadan will score. McReynolds now with 5 RBIs. It's 6-0 New York.
Well, the Mets are putting together an inning that they haven't used for quite some time. Consecutive hits, back-to-back doubles, and then after an out, a single by McReynolds for 2 runs in the inning. That's the way they were playing before they came back from that road trip.
So McReynolds at first base, still only 1 out. It's 6-0 New York, and here's Carter. Gary 0 for 3. Line to left, base hit. McReynolds may have a chance to score. Gonzalez is thrown, not in time. 7-0 New York. And the hits keep right on coming.
Well, Carter follows up the base hit by McReynolds with a double down the left field line. McReynolds really covers a lot of ground. Ball played perfectly, thrown into the cutoff man, Gonzalez, but no chance to get McReynolds. McReynolds, a man who had to sit out a year because of a bad knee, and you never know it now.
Howard Johnson now the batter. 10 hits for the Mets. 4 in this inning, 3 in the 6th. The 2 innings in which they have scored all of their runs. 0-1 to Johnson. The single in the 5th, a bunt single. Line down the left field line. Can you believe it? Johnson will stop at first. It's 8-0 New York. 8 the hard way, as they say at the crap table. 2 fours.
Well, 3 doubles in the inning, and now the second single as the Mets have just erupted here in the 8th inning against Dave Rucker. Rucker relieving Doug Drabek, who is on the losing side of this ball game, having given up the Grand Slam home run to Kevin McReynolds. And now Ray Miller out to the mound to talk to his pitcher.
Bob Kipper now up and throwing. Ray Miller, an interesting story. Managed the Minnesota Twins for a year and a half before Tom Kelly took over. Tom, of course, bringing the World Championship to Minnesota last year. But if you're Ray Kelly, you've got to feel a part of that. Proud that he set the stage for the Twins to do something. A lot of people forget that when they think that one manager comes in and just turns it around. A lot of times a team is ripe to be turned around.
It doesn't happen overnight. You got to build that team into a winning ball club like the Pirates are trying to do here.
Kevin Elster, the batter. Ball one. Kevin 0 for 3 on the night. Ocho Inada. Didn't want to, but he did. 1-1 to Kevin.
Now Kevin jammed by that pitch trying to hold up, but went too far. And he's really in a fairly heavy slump right now.
Swing and a miss, 0-2. Make that 1-2. Kevin entered the game batting .205, so right on the service road of the interstate. Players refer when you dip below 200 being on the interstate. Kevin on the service road after this at bat. Green makes the play. So with 2 out now, the batter Ron Darling.
Now batting, the pitcher.
A pitcher who loves to hit 4 times in a game.
Oh, Ron on the verge of picking up his 4th complete game. And he has a shot at his 3rd shutout. Have a time for the league lead.
He's never had 3 shutouts in a season. He's going to assure it once again as one more nail goes into the crate. Darling with a triple. 9-0, New York.
Ron Darling with a 3-base hit. That's got to be his first in his major league career. Look at Tony Darling. She can't believe it. That was when he was going in the 3rd. The ball bouncing high over the head of the 3rd baseman, and he made it safely. Here's a replay. Darling hits it hard to right center field. He's had 2 doubles, and he doesn't want 3. He says, I want a triple for the first time. Johnson comes in to score, and the throw to 3rd bounces high, and hits Darling, bounces away.
9-0, New York. Dykstra 1 for 4, but it was a big hit. It led off the 6th inning to set the stage for the Grand Slam home run by McReynolds. 0-1 to Lenny. A punch shot to right center. We might have to come back on that swing. 5 runs for the Mets. 6 hits. 4 for extra bases. And 1 left. 9-0 after 8. Well, we show the good swings. Let's show the bad swings. This is one that I think Lenny would like to have out. This ended the 8th inning.
Now watch this one. Whoops. Sort of serves it out into the outfield, but he did get the bat on the ball. That's the one thing that Lenny really fights. Getting that bat on the ball and making contact, and he does a great job at that.
So Ron Darling has just been brilliant against a good hitting ball club. Barry Bonds leads it off in the 9th. 0-1. Bonds 1 for 3. He had an infield hit in the 3rd inning. 0-2.
Here you are, the fact that he has gone at least 7 innings and 14 of his 15 starts this year.
You want consistency? You got it from Darling.
That's very impressive.
Yeah, that's more of a stat that you might see in the American League without the pitcher hitting. Strikeout for Darling. That's 9 and make that 8 in a row. Retired by Ronnie. First strikeout since the 4th inning.
Had 2 in the 4th inning, gets his 3rd here in the game as he gets Bonds on the fastball.
Johnson, good play. Safe at first is leaned. It's a tough hop for Johnson, who is playing leaned in. We'll see how it's scored.
He's even with the bag, and the ball's hit down there. Sort of a half hop and a difficult hop, but he can't handle the hop. Picks it up, and Lean is just fast enough to beat the play at first base. It's being charged an error against Howard Johnson.
Tough error because of the hop, not because of the speed of the ball or anything like that. Andy Van Slyke, who could see a great streak go down the tubes.
He has had at least 1 run batted in his last 11 games. Pirate record is 12. Paul Wainer, the man who did that back in 1927, the year the Pirates won the championship in the National League.
Major League record held by Oscar Grimes back in 1922. He did it for, it said in the note, Chicago. I wonder if that was the Cubs or the White Sox.
I think it was the White Sox.
Really? Cubs making history. Matter of fact, we'll be part of that history. We, being the New York Mets, have a chance to see lights for the first time installed. The first game being done by WGN, the superstation in Chicago. NBC doing a game against the Mets. The first game against the Phillies, August 8th. The second, the next night against the Mets, August 9th. Just still seems hard to believe.
It does. The last team in the major leagues to have lights. They've installed them. They're, I guess most of them are up now.
You know the next to last team to have lights?
No, I don't.
Detroit. I found that out last night. Van Slyke gets a piece of it. Still 2-2 to Andy.
And of course, Cincinnati, the first team to ever have lights.
Back in 1935.
This is a replay of the foul ball. Gets him on the back foot. Now that's tough to do. You can get the front foot, but to get hit on the back foot is almost impossible. Incidentally, the first night game ever played in New York was celebrated 50 years ago. It was at Ebbets Field, 1938, and Johnny Vandermeer pitched his second consecutive no-hit, no-run game.
Must have been bad lights. Foul back.
I read that they had something like 975 bulbs. And of course, the bulbs in those days certainly not like the ones they use today. Lights, some of the lights went out here at Shea Stadium, and they're playing with the lights down a little bit. The banks in left and right field are not working.
Low ball 3-2.
It was back on July 13th, 1977 that they had the blackout. The Cubs were leading 2-1 in the 6th. And that game was then blacked out. They didn't play that game then. On September 16th, they restarted the game.
Liner to right, Strawberry on one hop, leaned, stops at second.
When the lights went out, it was Ray Burris pitching for the Cubs and Jerry Kuzman for the Mets in the 6th inning. Burris was a winning pitcher when they resumed the ball game on September 16th as they won it by a score of 4-3.
Bobby Bonilla now the batter. Bobby 1 for 3 on the night. The Bronx Bomber, Bobby Bonilla. Killer Bees, Bronx Bomber, Bobby Bonilla. 1 ball, no strikes. Swings at the split finger fastball. 1-1.
Well, that's really a change. He has found out how to hit home runs. Had 15 home runs in 1987, and this year his ratio is 1 home run every 17.3 at bats. Already has 15 this year.
Outside, ball 2, 2-1.
Well, this is a close pitch, but outside as the call goes for Bonilla.
Inside, 3-1. It's like Davis and Blanchard, inside, outside. Nine to nothing, New York. 12 hits for the Mets, 1 error. 7 hits for the Buccos. Ron Darling trying for his 3rd shutout of the year. 3-2 to Bonilla.
Played a couple of golf tournaments this winter with Glenn Davis, who now lives in Palm Springs. Actually lives in La Quinta, which is in the Palm Springs area. Retired.
'46 and '47 Army teams. Fly ball, left field. McReynolds back. He's back. Middle of the track. And he picks up the slack. 2 out. Still 2 on. Last chance for the Buccos. Rest on the shoulder of Darnell Coles, who's 0 for 3. Mets have scored in 2 innings. A grand slam home run by Kevin McReynolds in the 6th inning, his first as a Met. And in the bottom of the 8th, the Mets erupted with 5 runs on 6 hits, 4 of which were for extra bases. They have 6 extra base hits tonight, a triple, double, and home run, and this should do it. And it does. No runs a hit, an error, 2 left. The Bucks only stranded 5 base runners. They didn't have a lot of base runners. Tony Darling, very happy for husband Ron. Guess you could say Tippecanoe and Tyler too. Tyler Darling, the son of Tony and Ronnie, will be happy one day. Tyler's only 2 years old right now. 9 to nothing. The Mets win it. 9-12-1 for New York. No runs, 7 hits, no errors as Darling picks up his 3rd shutout of the year. His record now 8-4. The losing pitcher Doug Drabek, his record 5-5. Now let's join Lee Zeidman in our studios. We'll be back.
Thanks, Tim. The complete Major League wrap-up is coming
In the 2nd inning, throwing out
Bobby Bonilla.
Bobby Bonilla. Okay, still in the 2nd inning, Kevin McReynolds, a ground ball. As Ralph suggested, this could be his vote. We don't know yet. Mindy Rashbaum crashing to the turf, doing a header.
But coming up with the ball.
But coming up with the ball. Now, when you can do that,
That's
that
my
is
vote.
remarkable. And I'll let a home run hitter tell you the 3rd choice.
Well, it's a grand slam home run, and that's tough to vote against. But at the same time, you got to consider the fact that that play made down there in foul territory, a turnaround, a complete tumble, and still coming up with the ball, the hidden ball, as a matter of fact, behind her back. I got to vote for her.
Well, we don't know yet. Now, I haven't given my vote, but you'll find out right after this word. We'll be right back. Dramatic, isn't it?